you're asking for a one case, and then you're building into a 25 case. And there is a way to do it. You first have to ask for a mixed case. Let me come Friday and Saturday. You prove that you're selling. Once you do that 2 times, and then you ask that, okay, can I get a 3 case stack and also a position on the wine rack? So first you only had a wine rack. Now you are getting a 3 case and a wine rack. You again ask for a Friday and Saturday tasting. Just keep doing this. Invest back, come Friday and Saturday, and then again ask for a 10 case stack. At that time, you also ask for a third location, like a refrigerator if it's a white wine, or a window poster, or a case card you will put on a 10 case, or maybe a prime position, maybe a competitor display goes down and you come up.
Hi everyone, good morning and welcome to today's webinar on how to get new distributors on board and how to penetrate US market, which will be taken by Sid, who is a CEO and founder of Beverage Trade Network. I'm Ankita. I'll be your coordinator for the webinar. So we'll begin with our webinar for the day, and I'll give the screen to Sid to introduce and begin the session.
Hey guys, thank you very much. So I can't see your faces, but I'm trying to make it as engaging as I can. I'll try to be on this screen, but at the same time, we'll have about 20 minutes after, the 40 minutes of this talk for a nice Q&A. And that's where, we'll try to grow some engagement. The idea is to go as practical as we can. So I've shared with this a lot of my personal examples, and I'll give you some context here. So before Beverage Trade Network, I had 10 private label brands and built these brands and built a 100,000 case business. So I've knocked doors. I've was a wholesaler in New Jersey and Delaware. Some of my family have liquor stores and bottle shops, basically, around Maryland, New Jersey, and Delaware area. So I've seen all 3 tiers. And this is really 16 years of ground experience that I'll be sharing, and with the context of 2024 for distribution, So that's my story. I also have a separate new brand that I've launched because I like to be in the crunches and I want to, always talk the walk. So I've a new brand is called Coca, and that's made in London, sold in London for now, and really, I know what you guys are going through. So let's get started. US is still a very, very important market. In fact, I'm very bullish. It is the best market, as hard as it looks. The US dynamics and the DNA and the culture is always amazing. The spirit of you getting a chance, you proving, that your brands work for that buyer is the best. If you compare with all other countries, it's just pure merit. Like you execute, you shake hand, you deliver, and then you can grow your brand. So that's the culture of the US is still as strong as it can. So I think it's, like everyone, everywhere else, it is just on you on how much you can execute. So let's get started. I already spoke about myself, but apart from, this Beverage Trade Network, pretty much touch bases almost with 10,000 brands globally between our trade shows, our competition. So I really, this is a very common question, which I get every day. Almost 10 to 15 people ask, how do I get distributors' attention? How do I grow my brand? So I think it was due that I share this in this sort of setting. I've divided this talk in about 3 phases. Phase 1, and please bear with me on my speed because there is lots to cover and I want to have Q&A, so I'll try to speak a little fast. You will get this video, you will get this presentation, so you can digest again, properly and write notes. So this talk is divided into 3 phases. Phase 1 is finding, pitching, and your sales process. So phase 2 is getting a yes, onboarding and launch. So pretty much, the prospecting to the launch, the kickoff. And phase 3 is the repeat business. So I always had in my company, when we had a wine business and spirits business as well, that it's all about beyond 1,000 cases with that distributor. First 1,000 cases with any importer, first container, first pallet. It's all nice and easy. It is the third purchase order. It is the beyond 1,000 case mindset that one needs to have. Until that time, you are the owner. So you have to take that ownership to make sure that the stock is being depleted. And then there is a partnership which got started. First phase and most important thing, which is to understand the nature of your customer, which in this case is the distributor, what business they are in. It's very important for brands to have empathy. This whole notion of distributors are not doing much these days. Obviously they have 10,000 brands and they have their own battles to fight, like you have. You need to really understand the business they are in, and they are in this business basically, which I'll explain. They are in case movement business, they are in delivery business, they are in sales personal business, they are in the logistics business, they are in servicing their customers. I had a wholesale business in Delaware and New Jersey, and I know, how I view my business and what was constant in my business, which was my retailers. So my 1,000 accounts of say Delaware or New Jersey were my fixed thing. That was the most important thing. Brands kept coming and going, but what mattered was the relationship with my customers. So why I'm saying that is, for a distributor, what's important, if a customer says that, no, I'm not going to, I don't like your wine, or I don't like this wine or that wine, then they are not going to go hard on convincing them, because they have other things to show that, okay, do you like this then? And life goes on for them. They have to make sure that the customer value relationship, which is the retailer and distributor, is the most important thing. And then comes their sales personnel. Their salespeople have to make money, retention. So if they try your products, on this amazing Monday morning, and everyone's taking in their bag, and unfortunately within, first 7 calls, or maybe first 6 calls, they understand that you're not getting traction, and then they'll start, showcasing the brands that will get traction for that account. So it's that business they are in. So please understand, some other ways to look at this when I was running the wholesale is what's going in my truck. When I always walked around when the deliveries were being filled, right, in the warehouse. So on Thursdays and Fridays, which brands are going, like some 10 cases going, some single cases, some big displays going, and I could see that which cases are going. And I was happy that, okay, we're getting some movement on this brand. And then I could see some cases which just couldn't move. So that's how they see, really, that is it. I mean, most of the emotional value ends there. For sure, there are some, personals or some management people, some people may like you as a supplier, may like your brand, but as far as the P&L of the business goes, they will be more happy if they see your goods going in their Thursdays and Friday delivery trucks. So that's the business your customer is in. Other thing is, they don't like friction. They don't like, when you have a different line pricing, when you have a pickup location, when you have supply issues, which is not their normal pickup location. So for example, I'll go through some, growth hacks, but always find a pickup location which they're already doing, pickups from. That makes their life so easy. In America, for example, on the East Coast, there is Western Carriers is one example. In Philadelphia, there is Element Warehouse. On West Coast, there is Western Carriers as well. So these are some big, third-party storage, which, usually there is a very high chance that their trucks are going there every week, right? Old Dominion Trucking. So they will have an account with them, so use the logistic partners that they already are using, or I would say 20% of the US drinks industry is using. And I'm more than happy to share the names later on if you want to email me. Let's hear some of the things. This is a recent interview I just did with one very nice distributor of Chicago. And here's a take from him.
So there's definitely the numbers. There's the margin that you're looking for, the reorder rate you're looking for, the gap within the portfolio, the marketing fund that they're supporting, or collectively supporting. What, are there incentives for the team to help them grow and build the brand? With all that, it's still a partnership. And like I said, when we were talking up there, we're betting on the romance of the business. We're betting on, telling the story, tasting the product, bringing it to life. But it is a battle out there. No one needs anything that we sell. We know that. So we are betting on our team to get out there, pound the streets, understand what the consumer's looking for, understand what the retailer's looking for, how to help them make money, how to help them.
So the idea of that showing that video was, this is a very nice wholesaler who've been in the business for almost 20 years. Momentum Beverage is their name. They carry a big book, but if you notice what he just said, they care about their customer. They care about what's next. Now, as we all know, that low alcohol, let's say, or dark spirits are booming. RTDs are booming, so they're going to adjust their portfolios accordingly. And it's very important that you are also offering a solution for them to take it to their customer, which is the retailer. So this whole, once we're done with the talk, you will understand how to sort of plan your strategy, your sales materials, and then start hitting doors again. Let's look at what do you look for in your distributor, and I will break each point here, and we'll go through some examples here. And this is the crux of this whole talk, right? What do you look for, and how to create a nice value prop or a presentation or an approach to your distributor. First is the current gap in the portfolio. Is your brand helping them cross-sell, upsell, margins, right? Is there a gap? Is there a clear gap? If it's exactly the same product that they are, representing, you're just wasting your time. So first, you got to find out, you got to do some research, and then once you spend time that there is this gap, absolutely go for it. And that's what you write in your initial talks, that, hey, I checked your portfolio and I do see that we can complement in the portfolio, and it will be a nice, offering when your sales reps are going out, pitching your portfolio to the retail and so on. Then you got to ask them that how many focus weeks will your brand get? A super important question. You got to talk the trade language, which they understand, because the most important thing is when you talk their language, they know that they are talking to an educated supplier. Brands, anyone like retailers, bartenders, sommeliers, especially distributors, don't have time to educate you. So please talk as much as you can this language, complete trade language and wholesaler language. So ask them directly that how many weeks can I get? If it's a couple of pallets they're ordering, tell them, would I get 4 focus weeks? Will your reps focus just 4 weeks in a year? If it's a container buy, ask them for like 6 weeks, and pretty much, those are the weeks that you fully have to pay attention and go there and do other stuff with them and so on. Minimum sales assurance, be very open, like, and that number has to be justified by your previous history. So if some wholesaler in, let's say, Texas is selling 8 pallets a year, and in New York it's 10 pallets, then obviously 8 to 10 pallets is what you can tell them, that, hey, we have this as an average, and this is how they work, and this is the size of their distribution house, so it's pretty much similar. So this is something which I would really expect. And we are there to support and build and whatnot. But at least if you can give me this in a distribution agreement, then there is no problem, because you will need those kind of things for to put in an agreement. Because if they are not performing, you can easily have that clause that, hey, you did not meet 400 cases this year. We are moving out without any buyout of the brand and so on. That's a complete separate dialogue that we need to have, for the distribution agreements, which is a separate topic. So chain authorizations, again, an important thing, that are they authorized in any chains? Very, very important. If you have a long vision and if you're building a national brand, you got to roll out, you got to make the chess moves. And one of the approach I would recommend is, initially, as we all know, like, beggars can't be choosers so much. So start with brands distributors that are really, going to work very closely with you and allowing you to knock doors on the streets with them. So start with those people. Forget about the Southerns and their RNDCs and the Glazers of the world, because they are not there to sell. They are there to service, right? Which I'll touch base on. But then what you need to do is you need to start with small and medium. You need to start slowly with the mid-sized distributors, which will have chain authorizations. You need to get the chains, and you need to move to the big, Budweiser, Miller, Southern, Glazer network. And that's the reservice. And then you need to, manage the big retail accounts and so on. That's a typical 5-year journey. If you are aiming to build a 100,000 case sort of brand, and that sort of distribution journey you will have to have, which includes distributor buyouts and whatnot. Active accounts. Again, an important thing you can ask your distributors is, how many active retail accounts do you service in? I used to ask that, a very important metric. So if they're just selling in 80 retailers and maybe 20 restaurants, that's a very low level number, right? You need to have some distributor nicely, at least about 500 accounts they should be servicing. And by active, what I mean is if a retailer has ordered, in the last 30 days from them. So their current AR, let's say, who are in their current last 30 days, which they've given an order to. So ask them that. Inventory levels, do check, if you are there physically, always a good idea to have them take a tour of the warehouse, check their inventory levels. I normally can analyze, looking at the inventory, that if they are holding 1 million or 2 million or 500,000 or 100,000 or nothing, you can see the financial health of the company by looking at such things, which is very important as well, because I'll get back on this again. But distributor payments are super important for you to know. Credit rating, good payer. Again, when I sold, beer guys were the best payers, so strongly recommend you to go with the Anheuser-Busch distributors or Budweiser, Miller, Coors Miller network. Beer guys are really, really good payers. Any business that has seen 10 years, I would say, any distribution business would have a good payment system. So obviously the big houses have good payment history. So there is a little chicken and egg problem where the old and established and the big companies are good payers, but small companies usually, would pay when they are on the last layer of your pallet or when they're about to send you a new order. So that's the way, unfortunately, they will pay you if it's sold, pretty much. Reputation of service in retail. So ask, go out on the street or make some cold calls, just ask 5 retail customers. Not many suppliers do this. Literally pick up the phone and say, hey, I plan to do business with this distributor. I just wanted to have your 2 words, how are they servicing? What do you think about them? See how they are. I remember that some business is when I was selling my wine, literally retailers loved the owner and the passion and the service. So that says a lot about who's representing, and what kind of reputation they hold. And you want those kind of, distributors. Otherwise, some retailers will always say that this distributor can't even fulfill their orders on time, all these issues. So you don't want to do business with them, because that is almost, you're risking your invoice or your future or your time. More important, you're going to waste your time, and then you'll have to find another house. Key accounts, again, important to know that are they doing business with important customers. It can be 10 of that state. So this I call like the godfathers of retail of that particular state. It's important for you to understand that they have the key accounts, the prestigious restaurant, the Michelin star restaurants, or the volume plays, the Total Wines of the world, the top 10 volume big discounters, or different kind of things. But key accounts, do they do business with that? You just don't want to go so boutique and niche that you end up being vulnerable. So you need a distributor which has all kinds of accounts, and in that they have at least the leader in that they're doing business with, even if it's just one brand they're doing business with. Number of sales reps, again, an important thing to look. You don't need to ask. Some of the things you need to observe, and you need to ask in a casual way, or when you're in the meeting you need to analyze and see. So obviously try to audit the questions you would ask and try to audit what you would be seeing. Number of sales reps is an important metric. How many are commissioned? How many are salaried? Super important, because a commission-based distribution workforce is not a healthy distribution company. So you want people where sales reps are on salary. Number 11, again, an important thing, especially for new brands who have not burned their money. They would be getting excited and they would do business with any distributor, which I understand. I did that as well, and I lost a lot of money. But then what I did was I always Google Earth. I saw that if they have an actual warehouse or if it's a home office, registered for their company. Truck ownership, again, if they if they literally have even one van or trucks, or they use their sales reps for the deliveries. Hold your temptations, there, but at least go with a company which at least have a couple of minivans, have their own warehouse, because to start import and distribution business in US, it's like for $1,000 you can start. They don't need to, especially in some states like New York, Illinois. You can use third-party logistics, you can use third-party trucking. You don't need anything. You can start, and then I've seen, including me, I've burned a lot of money where they just cannot afford the $50,000 invoice, and then it's so easy for them to fold. So I think you need to know how much they are vested in. And one of the best ways was that, do you own your own warehouse, and do you own your own couple of vans, and do you have 3 or 4 salaried reps? Those are the basic things. Number 12, again, hold your temptations when you're starting to, do a business with a distributor. I've learned the lesson as well. That's why I'm sharing this with you. I always had a personal guarantee and a contract that I used to send them just to see, where they are at. So what I used to do is, even if you feel like saving cost on sending samples, especially if you're an overseas, let's say an Australian winery, sending sample for your potential importer can be an expensive exercise. So if you want, you can always send them that, hey, these are our personal guarantees. This is a sample agreement that we do. And you will notice that 50%, and this is our payment terms, you will notice 50% of them would not even reply back, and they will be lost after that. So that would be a good qualifier. I always use that, to qualify. And then 50% would say, yeah, that works, Sid, with me, sure, go ahead and send samples. So you want to do business with these people, and then it's up to you. I mean, I never made them sign, because I guess a lot of people would be very upfront and say, I'm not going to sign personal guarantee. It's my LLC, do whatever you want, or do with my company. But personally, I'm not signing any personal guarantees. So that's okay. But at least, you tried and you showed them that you understand money and you understand business, and you're just not getting excited and being sort of, fooled and whatnot. A lot of new wholesalers, or a lot of wholesalers who are struggling, very important to understand, with business, who can't afford to pay their bills, to the current suppliers, will try to find a new guinea pig out in the market and try to do business with them and get the pallet and goods going. So try not to be that person, which is just giving them goods, which they're taking it out in a vicious circle. I hope you're all understanding what I'm trying to say here. So that's an important thing. Just try to put documentation out there to qualify them. Then comes competitive brands. Look for who are your closest competitive brands in their portfolio, and how deep the relationship of that distributor is with that brand. In my case, for example, I'll give one example of, let's say, Delaware. There was one supplier which was selling like 500 cases a month, knocking doors, literally making money for us. I was a wholesaler for that, and I loved them for that. And I myself had, other brands, but it's no way I was competing. So I don't want to actually compete my this Chilean brand with that wholesaler and that book. So I instead would sell them my like 100% markup Chilean wine, which is not a volume play. Maybe it is just a premium play. But then I would focus on my Australian private label, where I want to be that player for Australian wine in that distributor. So you got to understand, what the competitive landscape is. And especially, if you're talking to big distributors, like a lot of people want to do business with, let's say, big distributors like Southern and whatnot. And there is no way, they are even touching your brand. They have big brands that are making them money. You'll be surprised. One would think that Yellowtail, Josh Cellars, or Absolute, or Budweiser beer, or Miller don't make margins for retailers and distributors, but they are giving the same money that you are giving to the distributor, to the retailer. So they are also working on 30 to 40% at the retail, 25 at distribution levels. So please understand that even the big guys, even the big brands, are giving so much money back to the trade for retaining that positions. But the good news is consumers are paying. So I'll I'll answer this question in the Q&A as well. Built up so much money for the trade, at least 10%, I would say. So if you're selling, if your cost, to the wholesale is $60 a case, let's say, $6 should be just built into your pricing, which is thrown back in the trade, and let consumers pay $1 more. Let that $12 a case be increased at the consumer levels. It's such an over like hyped thing where, oh, I want my wines to retail at $7.99. Let it be at $8.99. Let everyone make money, right? It's so easy for to go that route because nothing will move. Your $5.99, $6.99, $7.99 means nothing if no one's behind your product. Your $8.99 means everything because everyone's behind the product. Who are the top suppliers and why? And does your distributor have 4 to 5 brands at least that their customers want? Again, one important metric to understand is, do they have at least 1 or 2 brands that are sticking, that are having a longevity in their business that retailers want? So let me share some examples. Here are my brands, Friday Monkey, The Deck, Lucky 7. These are mine in this particular wholesalers page. I was the only Australian wine. I was the only 1.5 Magnum. I was, those were my strengths. So the moment if some other Australian wine was added in this wholesaler, that was a big red alert. And we had that sort of relationship with I had that sort of relationship with all my wholesalers that before, and if you add any other Australian wine, you need to talk to me if I've not delivered, right? So you need to understand that how you're protecting your own brand in a wholesaler is as important as you're pitching or you're starting a new relationship. Because the moment another brand for similar brand comes, you will start seeing declines. So again, an important thing to always every month check your distributor's portfolio if someone else have come in their books, which are pretty much taking your spot. I'll point out a couple of things here. Pricing, how to price, and why it's important to understand how distributors have printed their pricing to the retail. Now, in this case, if you see here, they like this sort of pricing: $6.49, $5.99, $7.99, and so on. So you need to, when you're building back the pricing and when you're pitching to that distributor, it's important that you also use the same philosophy. It's $4.99, for example. Don't come up with $4.67. Then you're just disturbing that wholesaler. So if they're using $0.99, then use that for when you're making a price list for that particular wholesaler. If they're having a flat price, 10, 15, 12, use that, and so on. Again, I always made sure that whichever wholesaler I was in with, my goal was that I am an important wholesaler. So it's important to understand that you always retain that spot, and important by not just words. I was making money for them. I was an important, they liked when I come, because they know that I'm going to sell so much wine, and then the retailers will also like, sort of seeing me. So overall, their salespeople liked me, their retailers liked me, owners liked me because I made them money. So, you were a likable supplier. So what are you really selling? So let's go on, what do you want to put in your emails? What do you want to talk to the distributor when you're doing a meeting? What do you really want to, include in your presentations? So you're selling profit story. Your emails are important. Your sales process is important. Please include those materials. Review your materials on how you are pitching your distributors. And I have some examples which I'll show as well. You are selling convenience. You are selling a case study of how their retailers, their customers are going to make money off your product. You are selling yourself that, hey, take my product, I'll come here and sell. I'm your salesperson. I'm going to be your biggest salesperson. You're selling that. You're selling minimum order, ease of business, sample policy, marketing budgets, marketing plan, pallet configuration, 56, 60 cases, pickup locations, who's picking up the cost of shipping, what are the deals going on, access to chains. You're giving them a carrot that, hey, I can get you in chains. You're selling all that. You're selling market commitment. So please go through this. But this is what you are selling, and this is what you need to talk when you are doing the meeting with them. about your product. For sure, it has to be amazing. For sure, it has to be amazingly priced. For sure, you'd have to have a passion and story behind it. You need to go over that. But that's like 20%, 30% done. And now you go to talk to them about, okay, glad that you like my product. Now here's why I would suggest that, we should do business. And here's what I bring to the table, John. So that's how you need to take the conversation. And then you need to talk about all that stuff. The moment you talk about this kind of things, you're already above the rest 10, which have not talked about this kind of thing. So please understand that they are being pitched every day. And, the person who talks their language is the person they'll listen to. Another recent interview I just did. So let's hear what he has to say. Amazing company, Maverick Wine out of Illinois. Very good house. So let's hear him.
What's the biggest card they can pull, to get a yes from you?
Boy, a bunch of existing business already.
Exactly. I was thinking that, yeah. So like, I already know this 10 retailers or a chain, something like that?
It was something like that of just something to because again, it's such a cash flow intensive business at very slim margins. So just having something to say, on your first order, we know where a little bit of this is going, so you're not going to be behind the eight ball
I got it.
to start.
So it's like, all right, Ian, give me 2 pallets. I come Friday, Saturday. In 7 days, I'll deplete 80% to make sure, right? Something like that.
Let's hear him as well.
The most important thing is you've got to pre-sell some of the major customers in that market and then go talk to distributors. If you haven't pre-sold, if you don't have orders in hand, order commitments in hand, you're going to waste a lot of time talking to distributors. There's just so few.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah,
and a lot of times even retailers would just recommend you, right? That, hey, I'll buy from this guy.
And I think way too much emphasis is placed on what the distributor can and can't do. Way too much. It sets you up for a trap. So if you're an importer or you're a brand owner, a wine brand owner, you must have a reality check that all the distributor is going to do for you is warehouse your product and ship it to the stores that you've sold. If you start with that, it's not nearly as critical what distributor you have. What becomes most critical is, does the distributor pay their bills? That's really the major thing.
Sure, I was just going to say that. Yep.
So I think there's too much emphasis placed on distributors. And I could tell you story after story after story where people invested a lot of money and time running around the country, looking for the perfect distributor, assigning distributors, and then having 0 sales. And they're like, what happened? And it really wasn't about selecting the right distributor or not. It was about expectations about what a distributor can and can't do for you.
We'll have a Q&A, but don't be discouraged. But this is the reality. As I said, build everything up in your margins, but you will have to be your salesperson. I mean, you will have to have a sales force. Distributors are really, if you start thinking positively about this, they're actually still helping you. They're clearing stuff legally, they're delivering your goods, and they're giving you access. Go here, now the door's here, right? So it's enough. I mean, that's the new reality, and make money for them while you're make money for the retailer. But you will have to incorporate the sales element, the sales force element, the programming element in your distribution strategy. And that is a new reality. That is a super, super important thing to understand. The faster, one gets that, I think the faster traction you will start seeing in the market. So let's go on some other tactical things that you can apply, and that on getting distributors on board and getting traction. So I'll share some real examples here. So Friday Monkey, Shiraz, here is one of my brand. This magazine, some of you may know, Market Watch is a US drinks magazine which gives hot brands and whatnot. Some new launches. Even there are some other trade magazines that showcases new brands coming to the market. So what I did was always, every time when there is a new SKU that I had to roll out in my distribution, or let's say in your case, some of you are not even in the US, but are looking for a distributor, or maybe you are just planning to, you're a new brand and looking for distributors. So what you need is some trade launch, very direct, that, okay, Friday Monkey Wines is now looking for distributors. So that's one press release. Second is Friday Monkey Wine launches this October. Retailers invited to jump on this amazing brand. recommended retail price is $8.99. So you need a retail awareness, right? So you need 3 or 4 press releases going out here and there in actual press release, press books that the retailer and the distributor is reading. So the books that I advertise and would recommend you to advertise is just 1 or 2 places where I would recommend is what they are actually reading today, right? What's in their office, what's in their, what is on the owner's table, basically. Now, what you need to do is you need to put that book in your bag when you're pitching the distributor. So you say, hey, John, this is May, for example. This brand is, I've already done the press that October, we're doing this release. So just start with a couple of pallets. I'm hitting the road, collectively 5 or 6 distributors are going to be on board. So you need to start building a story. Imagine that you start knocking doors in 2024 to distributors. First 2 months, you're going to aim at getting 10 on board. So March is when you need to already book this press releases and print ads, and you need to get that proof, and you need to start, doing the talk that this is happening in March. Whether you jump on board or someone else will get this amazing awareness, because you're creating that perception that you are going ahead, whether you come on board or not. This is printed and this is happening, right? So my brand is coming in US, and all this 10,000 retailers will know about it because it's in this magazine now as well. And you tell them that your salespeople can show that when they're knocking doors as well, that this is happening, and 5 other retailers are going to stock and so on. So you try to use your B2B press launch in a very strategical way. Another thing, I think one of the questions was also what to include, in the distributors' presentations and initial emails. But I'll just answer it right now because that will be, again, a repetitive thing. So include real pictures. This picture which I'm showing is a 7-Eleven 4-case wine rack. As messy or real it may look, this is what distributors want to see. This is what, this is a Budweiser distributor asked me that, can you send me this picture, of a real rack, because we're going to take your brand to 7-Elevens in Texas, for example, right? This kind of real pictures. Now, another example is show your wins, show your successes. If any wholesaler is selling, if you're there, have a repeat business. Now, I was just contacted, I don't know if you're in the call, but you had Coke distributing your brand, Australian bitters, let's say, in Australia, and you have an amazing success story. Why don't you create a press release around it and show that this is how it's happening, this is how they're merchandising. You show them how they're making money off your brand in visual journey. Show them the merchandising. I used to show how my brands are merchandised in Whole Foods to Total Wine. I used to show how my brands are merchandising Total Wine to Whole Foods, and so on. So show them how other people are stacking them, how other people are doing it, how they are pricing it. So that's what you include. Now, again, an example, a very clear, simple example. Friday Monkey launches Moscato nationally. Friday Monkey Wines is introducing Friday Monkey Moscato for distribution. Contact this, right? So very loud and clear message, very simple, that this brand is launching nationally. I'm looking for distribution partners. Again, show them that, that you're pushing out on the internet as well and in trade magazines. Now, here's how I used an example. Please find attached a copy of our national press release that I ran below in the magazines in September issue. Friday Monkey has added and launched Friday Monkey Moscato, and all its ads are going in all these magazines. Let's say Arizona Beverage Analyst, California, Connecticut Beverage Journal, Delaware Beverage Journal. So they get excited. They will get excited that you are pushing money in the trade, and this magazines are the Bibles of the retailer. They see that every day, and your new product is being advertised in that, which distributors like. Another thing, one of the question was what to include in the original distribution email, or how to get attention of the distributor. Here's what I did, and this is something which I would highly, highly recommend. Have a deck of something, name it as, I used to call that as a support deck, support PDF, simple PDF. Just read, if you can read the screen, I'll read it out for you. Our goal is to be a preferred choice of supply partner. We believe cost is measured by value and not price. Our focus is to make sure that the product moves from your customer and that they are happy with their buying decision. Here are the few things we do as a part of our commitment. We focus on package price. We are one-stop solution for all the brands, so your life becomes easy. Free shipping if you take 560 cases. Trucking invoices on me. We stock sufficient inventory. Give them the assurance that you have enough inventory in America. Okay, so they don't have to worry about if they run out of one SKU. They don't have to wait for a container. We provide 5% sampling support, market visits with sales team, sales meetings and launch meetings, support in pitching to big retailers and chain accounts, sales incentive, point of sale. So as you can see, this was my first, when I sent them the price list, the second PDF was a supply commitment, a partnership commitment, or a support deck. This is the most important document you would want. So obviously you got to figure out what you can afford, what you can't, but the more in this, the better it is. And the last part, as you can see, you make 40% and more on our wines and be still competitive at the retail levels. Another thing which I did, once you go into a yes and everything is done, once you're asking for a close, let's say, once they like your product and whatnot, what you want to do is, as far as the closing and asking for a purchase order, you want to say, okay, so how do we get started? Do you have a sample agreement, or do you want us to send a sample agreement? I've also attached our pickup location, case configuration, all the technical, aspects of the logistics, and for them to set up in their softwares, for them to take it out to their retailers, because they'll need UPC and whatnot. So you have a technical sheet and use this in the closing phase. And then also, I made their life so easy that I had all my SKUs and then have a purchase order form so easy for them, because half of them may not even have amazing softwares like big companies, right? They may be on Excel still. So have them fill out this way, and they send you back the purchase order. So make their life very convenient. This is my recent brand. Just sharing, I'm talking the same language still. After 16 years, I'm still giving them assurance that I'll come this Friday and Saturday. I'll make sure my brand moves in 30 days. I'm giving them the same commitment. I'm talking about the product for 20 minutes. And in this case, I have amazing story. Still, I'm emphasizing more on the selling guarantee. So if you see here as well, what we provide is, apart from all this, I'm going to do this and that, depletion assurance. If you see 0.3, 30 days with the target profit that bar is going for, and I'm giving them an assurance that this will sell in 30 days. Here's in my email an example. This gin is made in UK, sold in UK. But if you see here, the line I've written is, the second goal is to make sure we help you in selling the one case in 30 days first. So I'm taking that ownership, and that's your punchline. That is the beauty about US market compared to all other countries. If you really look in the eye of the retailer or the distributor, in distributor, maybe it's a pallet, in a retailer, it's a case. If you really, really look in the eye and say, forget about everything, give me one case, take one case and allow me to come Friday or Saturday and do an in-store tasting. That's all. 80% would say yes. I mean, what more do you want then, right? So you just come back and then you start building from there. And I'll go over how you start building from case 1 to a 25 case stack, because that was also one more question, and I'll cover that in Q&A. This is one more thing that you will need for distribution strategy. Have a marketing plan, have a calendar, your brand, your focus, what you're doing, with each distributor, and send them. This is the right time. December is a very good time to have your 2024 meetings with your current distributors. Send them how your 2024 marketing plan would look like. So, let's say you design your portfolio. If you just have one brand, for example, then you can design different programming that maybe, okay, January is the sales incentive, February is, for example, a restaurant incentive, March is floor stack incentives, and so on. So you design and put this as a permanent plan and make it per distributor. Don't just have the same plan for every distributor, because every distributor's motivation is very important. Here's one most important question I directly ask: what's your three biggest, motivation factors? Do you want money? Do you want reputation? Do you want, do you like sales incentives? That's what works for you? Or do you want me to come 5 times a year and knock doors for you? What do you want, in your business, and what do you like? Again, some examples. This will all be there, guys, in the presentations, and these are real screenshot, real emails. It's uh, mine. I mean, if there are customer names out there, try to not share because of confidentiality. But it's for you. It's my own customer, so I'm okay to put it out there. These are some real words, so use this. I don't want to go in detail of drafting an email or sales field because I'm just sharing that in screenshot. So use that when I share this deck with you. One simple email, here's how it includes, here's the sales field, and everything is in this. Here's another example of, let's say, Kroger authorization, right? So when you're talking about chains, I'm including one example here just to show that you need to know what chains are looking for in product specs. If I don't have, imagine if I have a chain PDF that here's our chain PDF product specs, and that you include case weight because chains want that, pallet configuration, item dimension, and shelf life. But just imagine if you also attach that, they know that you already know, the language of chains, and you are so ready for chains as well. Some more example. Now, here's one more sheet which I really wanted to touch base on as well. This is especially, if you have a larger portfolio, maybe 20 brands, or, you have an importer, or maybe I'm talking to an importer here, let's say, and you're looking to grow into other states, have a nice sheet, which is your ultimate distribution measurement sheet, states, distributors, and which brands. So state, who's your distributor, and which brands each distributor are sharing. And what you want to do is focus on penetration. You want to make sure that your current numbers from the current brand, from the current wholesaler is not going down, and how you're navigating this journey and penetrating more and more your portfolio. Use shipping offers big time. Like shipping is, we don't talk about it, but suppliers and brands have this amazing advantage called free shipping, or let me handle the trucking, because distributors, trust me, guys, don't want another phone call, another headache. I loved my suppliers when they handled shipping, and the truck just showed up. So use that as well. Here's another example of how to do a follow-up. Did you get a chance to taste my wines? How to upsell? Hey, thanks for the business of what we're having, but these are some products that you are not, representing in the state. And I don't want to go to other wholesaler, because I think it's best if everything is in your book, because the synergies are high. So I'm just sharing some examples here as well. Line pricing, very important. This is how my price sheet, looked like. So as I showed you before, support sheet and price sheet. Those are the only two documents that I send them. I did not send them about my winery or, about the winemaker so much. When you're done with your initial sort of storytelling, you want to talk, more business, and you want this sort of documents to be floating around. I've written here DA and SPA programs. So what that means is distributor allowance, special purchase allowance. These are the words that you need to understand. These are the words they know that they are talking to a educated supplier. Line pricing, for example, I do understand maybe some of your Shiraz may be $5 expensive and your Chardonnay maybe $5 less. But try to, if it's just 10% here and there, try to go with line pricing and a clean pricing between your SKUs. Your life will become so easy because you're making your customer's life easy. Depletion reports, another super important document. Try to get depletion reports every month from your wholesalers, because that will tell you how they are performing your brand. You don't need to even ask. You just see your depletion report and you will know everything about your brand, which retailers are selling your brand. And it's very important, because when I hit the market, I want to see that I'm going to my top 20 people and saying hello and saying thank you for the business. So ask for depletion reports. Make a call if you can't visit. Call those 20 accounts and say, hey, I see that you're buying a lot from my wholesaler. I just wanted to say thank you. So do those kind of things in December. It's a perfect chance to thank your people. Thanksgiving is just over, but again, you can say belated Thanksgiving. But please ask for depletion report and thank your customers, retailers. Another interesting model which I had, and which you can try as well, and which you should, as you grow, you will come up with different models to sort of keep navigating your growth forward. So I had a little cluster approach, right? So I had small to medium distributors. I had 5 or 6 distributors in the single state. I had one distributor, all my brands with one state, let's say. Then I had hubs as well. So in Illinois and Midwest area, I was with Coors Miller network. In Texas area, I was with the Budweiser distribution network. So here's how the structure worked. You find a very powerful guy in that, let's say in my case, there was Mike Hopkins, which was a nice chap, which all other Budweiser wholesalers respected. So I told them, okay, Mike, why don't you make a little distribution hub, stock my products there, the 2 containers, keep it at your place. You make $2 or 5% on any purchase orders that the local Budweiser network is picking up from your warehouse. Budweiser or Miller, the beer guys like frequency. So if you tell them that, hey, pick up from my New Jersey warehouse to a Florida or Texas guy, they don't like it. For them, truck and cost per case, they're in the mindset of pennies, and volume and fuel cost and whatnot. So you need to understand that the closer you give them the pickup location, the better it is, and let someone else make $2 for helping you out there. So make little distribution hubs and give them commissions and a structure on that, and have their voice advocate to the network. So what I did was I called my annual 20 Budweiser wholesalers, for example, in this case, and then I pitched my new SKU that was coming. Let's say, I want everyone to take this wine, and you all can just pick it up from Mike, and so on. So that was one example, a very nice way to sort of get the influencer wholesaler in that area and get them do the talking and get them do the storage as well, and sort of get them be their anchor and case study as well, because they will ask them that, hey, Mike, how are Sid's wines doing? Shall we pick them up or not? And that it will just boil down to that question. Supply promise. I used to write supply promise emails to sort of keep building trust, because at one point, you will have your wholesalers, you will have, for example, in this case, we were doing 40,000 cases with just a couple of guys, a year. So you want to make sure that trust is not broken. And when you have 100 SKUs, in my case, when I had, pretty much 10 private labels, something or the other, let's say my New Zealand winery raises prices, or Sauvignon Blanc harvest issue and whatnot. So you will always have supply issue, but you need to back it up by not just saying. You need to literally say, okay, sorry, the wines are delayed, but the truck cost is on me, and here's $5 more to say sorry to the retailers out there and whatnot. So you need to put money back in your supply promise and sorry. Some growth hacks are there, which I've already spoken, but a couple of other growth hacks I'll just mention is the retailer churn. So let's say have retailers buy into your product and have them hand sell as well. That goes a long way, and have them advocate to the distribution. So let me just show you this slide. I sell top quality wines, and I will do this 10 things for you. Okay, let me sample your wines. Okay, that is the narrative. That is a story you need to tell, and you need to talk. So let's go on this last slide. 2024 strategy. Business models. It's an end game. So a lot of people are always ask me that, how do I find an importer, or how do I do it? Do I do self-distribution, or do I do this? Do I do direct to consumer? So my answer is and. About 15 years ago, I did and. I'm still doing an and thing. It's always an and. So you got to start. That is the key here. You got to start with the palette yourself, whichever way it is, right? So here are some examples I'll go over, so you know what kind of models there are. So one national importer, you can have 2 or 3 national importers and assign the territories and have contracts that way. You can have, same goes with the distributors. You can have one distributor per state. You can have, depending on the franchise laws and the state laws, you can see what is allowed and what not. You can have different distributors. You can self-distribute. You can use the MSW Park Street model. Again, I'll explain separately for people who want to know. There are third-party service providers who take care of the compliance, and you can knock doors and they'll fulfill your orders. That's the model. Then there is LibDib, that's even one step further, where retailers' deliveries are even fulfilled by them. So there is infrastructure of compliance, of storage. The infrastructure is there. You can decide to sort of start knocking the doors immediately. If I was you, I would start with the current infrastructure, get pre-orders, as we have heard before, get the traction going with the first container. That's what I did as well. My container, and I am here and I'm on the road, and you start building up, and then you start going back through traditional route. And then I ended up with Southerns and the Millers and the Budweisers of the world and the Krogers, and the Whole Foods. So that's a very simple, common route, which successful brands are taking, and that's how sort of you build your distribution journey. So let me go over this question here. What type of marketing collateral should be sent when contacting new distributors? I think I already discussed that. So have a support sheet, have a price sheet, show them, have a sheet called, let's say, visual pictures of your racks and whatnot, have a marketing plan of, how you are supporting. As much as you can show them that you are helping them sell is what you should, put that. And like shelf talkers, point of sale, and case cards, the obvious, on how the merchandising will look like as well. Build up a follow-up program to ensure that the numbers are going up. What and how to execute this follow-up program, right? So as I said before, so from you asking for a 1 case, and then you're building into a 25 case, and there is a way to do it. You first have to ask for a mixed case. Let me come Friday and Saturday. You prove that you're selling. Once you do that 2 times, you ask for, and this is real as it can get. This is how it's done. Then you ask for a 3 case, and then you ask that, okay, can I get a 3 case stack and also a position on the wine rack? So first you only had a wine rack. Now you are getting a 3 case and a wine rack. You again ask for a Friday and Saturday tasting. Just keep doing this. Invest back. Come Friday and Saturday. Or if you can't do it, there are agencies and there are companies that do store tastings. So invest that, and then again ask for a 10 case stack. At that time, you also ask for a third location, like a refrigerator if it's a white wine, or a window poster, or a case card you will put on a 10 case, or maybe a prime position, maybe a competitor display goes down and you come up, like in my case, Yellowtail was my big competitor. And for my 25K stack, Little Penguin, Yellowtail, Jacob Sprig, someone had to not get a 25K stack, which was a big ask, right? So you'll have to do that because ultimately you're churning the consumer of Yellowtail or Jacob Sprig into my wine. So that's how you start doing the 10 case. And then comes the big one, the 25 case stack, which is pretty much you assurance. As you can see, I'm just assuring them that it's selling and it is, the pace is going up. So if you show them that, hey, John, you bought 10 cases and it just took us like 60 days to deplete 60%, that's what you need to show. Let's go 25. Let me add more margins for that. If you buy 25 case, I'll give you 5 case or whatever. You have to show them the profit they're going to make on a 25 case stack. It's very different than what they would expect on a 10 case. In fact, it's more they want to make. So that's how you build that. And then you ask for the front display, which is sort of the ultimate home run. When the door opens of a liquor store, and if you have a 25 case stack, that's what you really want. And then you have to maintain that, because that builds the consumers. A front case, 25 case display is so much of a consumer building play than you think, and the word of the street and everything. It's an advertisement. Imagine that you're giving money for advertisement because salespeople are going to talk, other retailers are going to see. The moment you hit that, that's the best thing because you will have the brand talk more than you now. Most national and regional distributors won't pick up my brand with zero sales figures. What should I do? And so on. You got to start. You have to sell yourself. I mean, if there is zero sales, you have to be the sales person yourself, and you have to create a sales proof. There is nothing else. I mean, you just have to sell yourself, and it's a good thing because when you go out, even if you don't like selling, trust me, you have to sell yourself because you will hit the reality. You will 10 retailers telling you your wines are priced high, or sorry, we don't sell these days Australian wines, or wine sales a little slow. You need to really listen to what is going on, or they will say, I think, yeah, I like it, or they'll say, wow, amazing. There are different, you will get feedback and then you will adjust, and guess what will happen? You will come up with a sales feel, which you will educate to the distributor sales reps. I had an FAQ as well of 10 questions which people will ask about my wines when you knock doors. So you will come up with that, and that's the golden sheet. You give that to the distributor that, hey, I've been knocking doors, and these are the 10 questions your salespeople should know, and I can train them, and so on. So it's very important that you build sales proof. I'm more interested in learning about the industry standards around marketing budgets. I'll keep it very quick here. 10% is standard marketing. So if a distributor is buying $30,000 worth of goods, 3,000 goes back in their kitty. Flat 10% for sure is a standard thing for the distributor. What does the distributor look for in working with an importer versus a brand directly? Distributors still prefer to work with importers because they bring a lot to the table. Convenience is what they bring, a larger portfolio. They don't have to worry about 5 different invoices, and so on. So still going through a 3-tier or a traditional importer and then a distributor is a much better play. Don't be scared again, have consumers pay $1 more or $2 more, but let everyone be part of this if your vision and goal is sort of a 100,000 case brand. Are importers legally allowed to market the brand digitally? For example, could an importer or distributor run Facebook ads? Yes. In my notes, I'll share some websites you can see. You just don't have to pay for them. So let's say if a distributor has run your ad, but you can't give them a kickback saying, hey, Mark, here's the $50 for your Facebook ad. So you can't give distributor, let them pay for themselves. If you pay, then if you pay for inter-tiers, you can't do that. So you as a supplier can for sure run ads and buy my wines at this 5 wine stores, and that's fine, but there are some other norms that you need to put in that ad. You need to put supplier contact information and other things. I'm keen to understand the basics of entering the US market, especially Chicago. I think, yes, that's, we need to get education here. That's just complete separate dialogue. So, getting basic understanding of pricing model. I think here's what I would say: 30% importer, 40% distributor, and 40% retailer. That's the markups people make if it's a new brand, and then it all flattens down to 35% if it's a 100,000 case sort of brand, which there is a repeat business. What are the top 3 things distributors look for in a new brand to decide whether to bring the product in? They will want a proof of history, a likable supplier, so much of marketing budget, and what are you going to do to help them sell is what they really look for from the obvious, which is the price and the product and the packaging and so on. What is a chance of a macro distillery, like a family-owned operated business? So I think, as I said, like if it's Budweiser or a macro distillery or a beautiful, prestigious winery or Moët Chandon or whatever, right? It doesn't matter. What they're looking for is the other things. They are not so much of that what size you are. As long as you are really assuring them that even if you're a small micro distillery and your ambition is to grow big and be a 20,000 case brand, and you can really show them that you have that and you can support, they are fine. So I don't think they're going to judge. It's really up to what you are bringing to the table. I had to keep it very fast. But Ankita, any more questions?
Now we have 2 questions related to sales reps, in case if you would quickly just want to answer them. So the one question is that it's a new craft beer brand. It's a very small business, but they want to know that how do you suggest that if they are looking for a brand ambassador or a sales rep, how they should go about it? What is the recruitment or maybe the criteria for selecting a brand ambassador or a sales rep?
My take, if you're new in the business or new, use the right words from day one. Call it sales rep. Brand ambassadors get very fancy. It's usually for the big companies, for pictures and storytelling and just doing consumer awareness is what actual brand ambassadors are used for. You want a sales rep, which are going to knock doors, and that's not the brand ambassador. You want a sales rep and you want a person to come and do Friday and Saturday tastings.
The second question is the sales rep's commission versus salary. How do you think that the other can be noticeably better? So what is more better for them? Is it the commission or the salary?
100%. This is salary is a no-brainer, but I know where you're coming from because I was struggling myself as well. So when you're starting, you don't have budgets or you can't support a 5,000 a month salesperson on the ground. So you want to find a classic mix. So what I did was hey, actually, we'll take care of your expenses. So I want to start minimum for the first 3 months. So let's do 1,200, 400 a week or 300 a week. That will just cover, give you some assurance, and then we'll do 10% on the sales. So, on an average, our people on commissions make 4,000. So you have to show that they're going to make 5 to 6,000, 1,500 base, 4,000 commission, and 500 for your fuel and food. I'll pay as well. So make sure that they are not wasting money from their pocket, and make sure that they at least have something minimum. So that would be my way to start if you can't afford a full-time salesperson. But if you are a brand that is really, really retailers want, and then you have orders and you guarantee that they're going to make money, then I'm sure they'll come on board as commission.
One quick question that has come. This is regarding margin. So what is the average margin that you say for a new wine brand?
Importers, let's say 3-tier system. I'm assuming this is an overseas brand question, let's say. So importers need to make 30%. State distributors need to make 35% to 40%. And retailers need to make 40 to 45%, right? So that sort of margins they need to make, and you need to have 10% more, remember, for all these things. We call it kickbacks or trade allowances, or bill backs. Here's another thing. Give money after the performance to the trade. So call it a bill back. Say you do this and bill me back, and I'll pay you that money, right? Because then you are pushing them, and they also know that there is this 10% waiting if I do this, and that goes straight in their margins. So owners love it. A lot of owners don't share. Like, I know that, as I said, I had a wholesale, and I don't share this information with anyone. That 10% was just between me and the suppliers, and I know that if I hit these numbers, 10% is coming in my bottom line, right? So use this kind of thing. Same goes with the retail owner. So it's called bill backs, and keep that as well on board. Again, to repeat, let the consumers pay more. You thinking it's $7.99, it's okay if it's $9.99, but you need this margins in the game.
Hi, this is Christina with Brown Girls Brew. How are you?
I'm good.
That's great. My question is, being an emerging craft beer brand, how would you suggest that we build more brand awareness? We're doing all of our marketing and promoting and tastings. And as I mentioned in the comments section, that it's only 2 of us, and we've made great headway so far. What do you suggest with the brand awareness building? I know you covered a piece with regards to
I would suggest
brands.
If you are a brand which is just in the first 3 years and less than, let's say, 20,000 cases, for example, a rule of thumb is put all your money back in the trade in creating brand awareness in the trade, right? So don't be romantic about social media and consumer ads and big magazine ads and this and that. It's a big ocean. Don't go there. Simply build brand awareness in the trade. What I mean by that is, proof cases, give money back to the trade, influence the sommeliers and bartenders, let them be your voices, let the retailer, get retail influencers on board. The Godfathers, like 5 or 6 retailers stacking up, give them so much money, that they sort of build brand awareness. But yeah, I hope I'm answering. But build brand awareness in the trade is something which you be very disciplined, when you're in the first 3 years of the journey.